Alright, it's 11:21. I need to get a move on. Alright, let's go ahead and cut out the big gaping hole in one piece of the PUL. This is going to create the elastic casing as well as the flaps that hold our insert. Check out the Sew With Me Dalek diaper, or I think it's called a cloth diaper cover. Sew With Me cloth diaper cover. Check out that section, and I'll show you exactly why I do this big gaping hole in the middle. Cut this out. Alright, I'm not gonna make you watch this. Let me cut this out for you. Alright, big gaping hole. Set that aside. Now, for 2 days in a row, I told you guys that I was going to sew with pins, and I ended up not doing it because I couldn't find them. So my husband, sweet man, decided to help me out a little bit and went to Joann's for me and got pins. So I owe him big time, and you guys get to see me sew with pins. So I'm probably going to label this video specifically as sewing with pins. This is really slinky fabric, so it's taking a little while to get lined up. I'm just kind of pushing it around, trying not to let it get stretched out, but I do want it to lay in the right position. So now it is laid onto my PUL, the solid one. This is, as far as I can tell anyway, right side up. Yeah. And the plasticky side is down towards the table. So both of these pieces are technically right side up. Alright. Where you want to sew is in the seam allowance. PUL is a water resistant material. You really don't want to be sewing in the middle of the diaper, or sorry, pinning in the middle of the diaper, because you're leaving a hole in it. You're creating a hole. I've been told that running a dryer on high seals it back up, but do you really want to take that risk? I mean, this is your hard work here. Now, I'm a left-handed person, so I'm actually going to put this in with the left side. The head of my pin is going to be on the left side when I sew, and that will just help me remove it. A friend of mine came over to sew a couple weeks ago, and she's like, why do you put the head over there? Because she was putting the head on the other side. There's no wrong way to do this. So if you want the head on the other side, then by all means, it's your diaper. So I'm just gonna line this up, and I try to put the pin on the very edge, as close to the edge of the fabric as I can. And you don't have to grab very much of it, just, you know, grab a tiny little bit of it and move on. So this is what it looks like to put pins in PUL. Maybe I should get a close-up of this. See if I can figure out how. Hold on. Alright, I hope this doesn't make anyone sick. I'm going to try not to move too much. Alright, so the seam allowance, I'm going to draw this with my handy dandy marker, is going to be about right here, all the way around the diaper. And so I want to stay to the outside of that to not compromise my waterproof layer, my water resistant layer. And so when I do that, let me just make sure I'm still on camera, I literally stick the pin down into the fabric, kind of touch my table just a little bit, and then pick the pin back up, and I push with my finger to make it bend, and I just sort of push the pin through. So it's gone down and back up out of the fabric. Let me go ahead and do this all the way around. Alright, I realized when I got this far that I actually don't need to put in as many as I have. So I don't need these 3 yet, although they probably could stay there. It's not hurting anything. Let's flip this over. So what I've done is I have pinned around the snap area. That'll keep everything together. I'm going to grab my pattern, mark where the snaps go. Where's my ink pen? I like to use a regular ink pen and write on the back side of the PUL, the shiny side. There we go. Some of those didn't write very well. I don't think this pen is very good. I don't know where my other pen went. There it is. Much better. Much easier to write. Alright, so now we're going to insert these 12 snaps before we sew the whole thing together. I haven't sewn anything yet, actually. We're just still in the cutting and snapping phase. Set a few out. I don't like to go digging through the bag, or the jar, sorry. Grab my owl. Poke it through. Insert your pointy piece. I don't know what that piece is called. The top layer for me is going to be the studs. The bottom layer is the sockets. If you check out yesterday's videos, I actually show you a close-up of the studs and the sockets. So that one's called Comic and Navy Curtain Diaper. So check that one out. It'll probably be in the second or third video. Because snapping is pretty early on in the process. You don't actually do any sewing until you get your snaps put on your front piece. This is especially true in a pocket or an all-in-one, because in a cover you can kind of still reach the snap area, but in a pocket or all-in-one, once you sew that together, you really can't get in there. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. Don't learn that the hard way. Take my advice. Alright. Ow. Pins. Pins hurt. How come nobody told me that? Sewing with pin stuffs for the birds. Do you know how long it took me just to get those few pins in? Man. I'm too lazy for that. But it is doing quite well at holding it steady for me. I'm impressed by that. Because if you've watched me snap before, I usually have to smooth it out quite a bit before I move on to the next snap. I'm going pretty fast. You actually don't have to watch me do this. Let me pause the recording here. Just a second. Okay. Oh, I had an oops again. You all are bad luck. I haven't done that too often, but recently I've done it 3 times now. I just stuck a stud where there should be a socket. So the best way I know, send me a message if you got a better way. Best way I know is to cut it, truthfully, break it. So I have to get it back off of there so that I can put the socket in. It needs to be a socket, otherwise it won't snap. It just won't function properly, so I have to get it off of there. and it's really kind of difficult. That one just hit me in the face. Don't laugh. I know you're laughing at me. Now I'm afraid of it. It really did hit me in the face. I'm gonna have like a mark there now. Try not to get the fabric. You do not want to cut into this fabric. Just be gentle. Whittle away at it little by little. Don't force it. If you try to go too fast, you'll rip the fabric. You'll stretch the PUL and make that hole too big. It's not worth it. Just take your time. Get the snap out of there. There we go. I think that will actually come through. Gently. I need to get some more. There we go. Now, put a socket there, Jen. Not a stud. Do it right. All right. Let me do the others. All right. This video is over 12 minutes long, so I'm going to stop here and start a new one, but the snaps are in.